Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking Abe's kicking candy ass, live and in living color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. Yes, ladies and gents, welcome back to Video Nasty Special Numero 5. Yes, number 5. Yeah, give me 5. Hell yeah, baby. Tonight on Grande's Graveyard, we will dive deep back into the Video Nasties list, the fabled list, of course, from the DPP, the list of 72 films, bands that were too hardcore, too extreme for Britain and everybody else, man. We couldn't handle these 72, goddammit. But yes, ladies and gents, tonight I take a look at 3 lesser talked about nasties. Now, of course, I've covered some big ones on the show. I've covered Possession. I've covered I Spit on Your Grave. I've covered Last House on the Left. I've covered a lot of the biggies. But tonight, I'm covering 3 that are not definitely talked about nearly as much. So I'm super excited here tonight to discuss these 3. We, of course, have the Explorer of Horror here. Good brother Nate is here. Welcome, my friend Nate. Good to see you. My favorite series you do. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate your support. And I would love to have you on here for one of these, man, for what it's worth. If you have 3 nasties in mind that you'd ever want to cover with me, please let me know. Of course, hopefully ones I haven't covered already, but we can always keep those graveyard gates open. James Abernathy's here for the graveyard shift tonight. Welcome, James. Hope all is well with you, my friend. THC, Texas is here, 1965. Well, I think he heard Eaten Alive and he came running. So, I mean, it is what it is. Texas, welcome, my friend. Hello, everyone. Can't believe Eaten Alive is being talked about. That film is truly batshit insane. Well, I know Aiden Vavra is a diehard Toby Hooper fan, so we're happy to have him in the house. Dude, I'm stoked to be on. Dude, yeah, absolutely. We'll talk. Later. We'll talk. If you ever want to do a collaboration on one of these, we'll pick 3. We'll pick 3 nasties to cover together. It'd be a lot of fun. So people saying hi to each other. All right. Awesome. Love Eaten Alive. Well, you guys are going to get your wish. That's the movie we're going to start with here tonight. As I just want to briefly say the 3 movies I'm covering, and we're going to get right into it. Eaten Alive happens to be the one I was wanting to cover first. So, of course, first we will be talking about Toby Hooper's Eaten Alive from 1976. Second, we'll be talking about the very first ever Nazisploitation and women in prison film. This was a groundbreaker. This is Love Camp 7. Yes, Love Camp 7, little Nazisploitation, little sleaze, little women in prison movie. We'll be covering that second. And finally, from the year 1982, this is a really little talked about slasher movie that, does have a cult following. This is Unhinged. Yes, Unhinged from 1982. This will be the last film we talk about tonight on Grande's Graveyard. So we have so much to talk about, so little time. But strike that, reverse it. We got to love some Willy Wonka in the house. I have the Dark Sky DVD. Oh, it's so weird. The menu is all warped. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I got to say that this edition of Eaten Alive from Arrow looks fantastic. It's chock full of special features. You have the 2-disc special edition here. I spent my whole Sunday morning watching the special features on this, and then of course I finished that with watching the movie itself, so it was a fun show prep for it. That Arrow Blu-ray edition of Eat Alive is truly awesome. Absolutely, the movie does look great. But all right, we're gonna get right into it. Everybody, cheers to a wonderful, safe, happy, healthy Thursday night. I think we got to down some Code Red because this is the greatest drink ever. So everybody, cheers. We got that red theme going. It's nasty, it's red, it's Grande's Graveyard. We're rocking some Last House on the Left t-shirt here. Cheers, everybody. Only the best on Grande's Graveyard here tonight, ladies and gents. So, okay, brief plot synopsis, and we will be right into this. Okay. A psychotic redneck who owns a dilapidated hotel in rural East Texas kills various people who upset him or his business, and he feeds their bodies to a large crocodile that he keeps as a pet in the swamp beside his hotel. Yes, I'm talking about 1976's effort from director Toby Hooper. Of course, this was the sophomorial effort. I know some people say Eggshells was his first film. Granted, that film was lost for a long time. It did eventually get a release, but really, it feels like Texas Chainsaw Massacre was his first real film. And then, of course, this was the follow-up. This was the movie 3 years down the road, or 2 years down the road, where Toby Hooper comes out with this movie here, Eaten Alive. Yes, Eaten Alive, which this also has a numerous amount of other titles. It's also known in Britain, the UK, where it was banned as Death Trap. It's known some places as Horror Hotel. And my personal favorite of all of them, Starlight Slaughter. Of course, what better follow-up name to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre than Starlight Slaughter? I think that would have been a much better title than Eaten Alive, because there's also a cannibal film, of course, from, I believe, 1980, Umberto Lindsay joint called Eaten Alive. which of course has nothing to do with this, but they both have the Eaten Alive title. I think the title for that works better there. I think Starlight Slaughter would have worked really good for here, or even Horror Hotel. I don't think that would have been terribly bad. But this movie right here is a very interesting movie in the career of Tobe Hooper. And first and foremost, this was a movie it took me a very long time to get to. I mean, I had seen The Funhouse. I had seen Life Force, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Hell, I had seen Tobe Hooper's Crocodile from 2000. Yeah, that piece of shit from 2000 before I saw Eaten Alive. In other words, the original Crocodile movie that Tobe Hooper did. So I think it's kind of funny that it took me all these years to get to, his second movie, the movie that followed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I think the first thing you always have to mention when discussing this movie is the fact that you can never follow the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, it's just impossible. It really, truly is. It's, in my opinion, besides the original Dawn of the Dead, it's the greatest horror movie of all time is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So no matter what he made second was going to feel like a sophomorial slump, was going to be a step down, because there's no way you can improve upon perfection. Yeah, if you're a pitcher and you go out there a perfect game your first time out, odds are you're never going to recapture that success. And you can only equal it. You can never surpass perfection. You can't improve upon perfection. And this movie really, I think, the reason that a lot of people do not discuss it, do not mention it a lot, and the reason it has like a 5.5 on an IMDb is because it really does pale in comparison to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's not that movie. And I think a lot of people look down upon it. Now, I don't think that's a fair criticism. I really don't. And I know a lot of people, that's a criticism of Toby's entire career, is that you never recaptured that lightning in a bottle. Well, who the fuck could? Who did? Who? Name anybody that made a movie, a horror movie, better or on the level of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I will fucking wait to hear that answer, man. I will wait. But this movie right here is a very interesting, movie in the career of Tobe Hooper, in that he shot this entirely on a soundstage. Okay, you go from on the location shooting in Texas, that grimy, gritty feel of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then this, you can clearly tell that this is a set. Like they just made this on a set in, I believe, Raleigh, California. And they try to give this movie a very different feel and atmosphere with almost Argento-esque lighting, using all these beautiful primary colors like the blood red sky. And then as the night goes on, it becomes almost blue, and some magentas and purples, and all these beautiful primary colors that Tobe Hooper used to make this movie feel like you were watching a nightmare come to life. A exploitation, animal attack nightmare come to life. That's the best way to describe Eaten Alive. And I think in a lot of ways, what a unique idea to merge exploitation, slasher, animal attack with almost an Argento style looking film. It doesn't look like an American picture. You can tell it's a set, which does take away from any of the gritty vibe that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre captured. But on the other hand, this is a much more polished exploitation film. And I do think there are some people out there that are going to give it the stiff arm for that. Oh, it's a polished exploitation film? Nah, they push it to the side because of that. I get that criticism. I get that critique. But I do think this is a worthy enough follow-up. And I do think this is a decent enough film in the career of Tobe Hooper. It's definitely in the top half of his filmography. I like this movie well enough. So it basically opens, of course, with who else but Robert Englund, who would become a huge, Tobe Hooper collaborator over the years, whether it be, Spontaneous Combustion, whether it be, all the collaborations those two had. I mean, they became very good friends, and I believe they met here on this picture. This was one of Robert Englund's first movies. Robert Englund, of course, plays the character Buck. I'm Buck, and I'm raring to fuck. I mean, that's the opening, as he's trying to have anal sex with the character played by Roberta Collins, Clara, who is this kind of, I'm better than the whorehouse and I got to get out of here. She's trying to get out of the whorehouse because she doesn't want to have anal sex and be degraded anymore. And of course, Carolyn Jones, yes, Morticia Adams, her fucking self, plays the lady that runs this whorehouse. And all right, no worries, Buck. You can have two of my finest for no extra charge. Of course, she, Roberta Collins gets out of there and she goes to the Starlight Hotel, where she meets our lead character, Judd, of course, played by, of course, the late Neville Brand, who I think does a really good job in this movie as this kind of sweet, innocent at first when you meet him, very nice, but when he finds you that he does not like you, it's off with your head. It's feed him to the croc, god damn it, feed him to the crocodile. Neville Brand plays a very good psychopath in this movie. I think it's an interesting performance in of the fact that there's a lot of the time I can't understand what the fuck he's saying. Like, this is a movie I watch with subtitles because his a lot of his performance just mumbling to himself. He's in the distinctions, and they don't have the right distinctions here. And I don't know, like, you don't understand what the fuck he's saying. Like, it's so weird. I mean, this movie is grade A weird, and weird cinema at its finest. But let me get back to the chat. I'm sorry, I've been neglecting you all for far too long. Let me go back up here. I think I missed quite a few of these. I think we were at Dirk's comment. Oh, okay. Actually, no, we were here. I'm drinking Mighty Mouse Blue Cream Soda. That sounds amazing. You're gonna have to send me a picture of what that looks like, because that sounds enticing. Subjective Perspective Collective is here. Dirk's in the house. Welcome, my friend. Love Camp 7, hell yeah, along with Beast and Heat, S's Experiment, and my personal favorite, The Gestapo's Last Orgy. Yes, okay, those are all the Nazisploitation films that are on the Video Nasties list. Love Camp 7 started the whole fucking thing, so I'm happy to have you in the house tonight. Dirk, Sean is here. Hey, hello, Graveyard Crew. What's up, Sean? Hope all's with you. Shared out the stream, dude. I appreciate the support, man. We're closing in on 650, and we had a great month of June. I looked at the numbers today. We had 25 new subscriptions, over 8, I think it was 13 plus days of watching of the Graveyard. We got in minutes 19.1 thousand minutes. That's crazy. So we're doing great on this show. So I'm trying to keep the good times rolling. Eaten Alive is highly underrated. Love the Giallo-like lighting. It's very interesting how he decided to light this movie. You know, coming off the gritty feel of Texas Chainsaw Massacre that you know, doesn't feel artificial in any way, shape, or form. Here you have a movie that it is artificial. This does feel like it was made on a set. Like that's my big thing, you know. Like, okay, a lot of people always say, "Oh, well, he didn't go too far. He still did exploitation." Yeah, absolutely, he still did do exploitation. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre is organic, while this one is artificial. That's always the big difference I see between the two, and that's why I think one is heralded as an all-time classic, and one is sort of lost in the shuffle, forgotten in the cracks. I mean, it's a fact. In my opinion, at least, is that's the big difference for me. Slasher Fred is here. Welcome, Slasher Fred. Eaten Alive had starred 2 pre-horror series stars, Kyle Richard and Robert Englund. I'll do you one better. Janice Blythe is also in this film, who the following year would go on to work with Peter Locke and Wes Craven in a little movie called The Hills Have Eyes. And she, of course, in that movie plays Ruby. In this movie, she plays Robert Englund's underage girlfriend. And I couldn't believe it when I first saw the movie. I'm like, that girl looks familiar. Looked it up, of course. Holy shit, that's fucking Ruby! That's fucking Ruby. Holy shit, she's actually quite an attractive woman. And she does a really cool interview on the Arrow Blu-ray here, where she discusses how she got the role in the film and stuff like that. And while she was walking to her car one day, she walked into some guy and said, "Oh, they're casting for this movie. You should go into the office, meet the producer." Peter Locke's office, Wes Craven was in there. And then, of course, they had her audition for Ruby, where they actually, instead of acting and auditioning, they'd have them fucking race each other in the parking lot. That's how the part of Ruby was casted. Whoever wins this fucking race, whoever hits that fucking pole first is Ruby. And, of course, Janice Blythe won. So she went from Tobe Hooper to Wes Craven, one horror master to the other, even though there is a fun anecdote where she didn't necessarily work with Tobe Hooper on this film, which I'll get into that later if I remember. Miss Gator, yeah, fucking Miss Gator. Miss Carter's here. Ciao, Grande and friends. I read this comment. Crocodile, yeah, crocodile, right? They do make the absolute, you know, clarification that this is not an alligator. This is a crocodile, goddammit. It's from Africa and it cannot die. That's the you know, they remind you of that several times in this movie. First time I saw Eaten Alive late at night on IFC back in like 2003. I didn't even know about it until then too. It wasn't easy to find on DVD either. Yeah, that's the thing with me too, Sean. The reason I think it stayed away from me for so long, I never saw this in a rental store. Never. I don't know why. I don't know if it's East Coast thing. Sean and me are East Coast guys. I have no idea why. Never ever in my life saw this at a rental store. This is one I just had to buy. I was like, fuck it. I've never seen it. I'm blind buying it. It's Tobe Hooper. I'll give it a shot. And thankfully, I was not let down. Arrow just does a great job with these editions. I did go with the original cover here, which I love the tagline, "Meet the Maniac and his friend." I like that. I think that's a great tagline. The newly commissioned artwork for this sucks. And Arrow usually does a good job with that, but man, I don't know. I didn't care for it. Mernsey is here. It's Mernsey's world, motherfuckers. We're all just living in it. Paul Mernsey, welcome, my friend. Hey, what's up, everybody? Let's get nasty. Hell yeah, man. Mernsey's in the house. Mernsey did one of the funniest reels on Instagram yesterday that had me actually crying and cackling of laughter, where he pretended to be Lucio Fulci asking for ice cream. It was tremendous. One of the funniest things I've seen. Mernsey is one of the funniest guys out there. Mernsey, welcome to the show. Don't go disrespecting Toby Hooper and Alligator Grande. LO, just kidding. Well, Crocodile from 2000 is a rough movie. A filmmaker like Richard Kelly truly had a hard time following Donnie Darko. That's the thing. You can't follow it. It's just when you make a movie that, memorable, that beloved, that, influential, all the words that you want to say, all the adjectives you want to give it, it's so hard to follow that up. Look at Romero makes Night of the Living Dead, then he makes There's Always Vanilla. John Carpenter makes Halloween, then he makes, I believe, was it A Stranger Is Watching or A Stranger in the House, whatever the fuck. It's very rare that you have a guy start with a classic and then the next movie, fucking Sean S. Cunningham, Friday the 13th, the next movie, and nobody remembers. It's one of those things where you can never follow up your fucking masterpiece with another one or best it. It's very rarely seen. Wes Craven, last fucking Nightmare on Elm Street, The Hills Have Eyes Part 2 was the following movie, even though I know he filmed it before, but it is what it is. Life Force will always be my favorite Hooper film. Love Life Force. I have the 4K somewhere. First time I saw Eaten Alive was back on IFC 0304, and it wasn't easy to find. Yes, no, exactly. I had the same issue. This is one I just had to eventually get from Amazon. Subjective Perspective Collective. I feel Kubrick and Friedkin could be in the conversation with Hooper's TCM. Please expand on that. What do you mean? You're one of Miss Hattie's girls. Yes, of course. Once Neville Brand finds out she's one of Miss Hattie's girls, all hell breaks loose, and he goes from nice guy Judd to evil guy Judd. My name's Buck, and I'm raring to fuck. That's the first line of this movie. Which, fun fact, that scene was not shot by Tobe Hooper. Now, there's a very interesting backstory on this movie where Tobe Hooper, towards the end of production, walked out because he hated the producer Marty Rustum. Marty Rustum was a piece of shit, and Marty Rustum had no fucking talent in his left pinky as fucking Tobe Hooper had in his entire body. The fucking Marty Rustum sucked, but a lot of these scenes were shot by Marty Rustum. He stepped in as director, of course, the opening in the whorehouse, and of course the bar scene towards the end of the film. All of that stuff with Robert Englund and Janice Blythe is all shot by Marty Rustum, not Tobe Hooper. So most of the stuff from the 10-minute mark on in the middle, that's all Tobe Hooper. The very ending, the stuff in the bar, that's not Tobe. The stuff in the whorehouse, that's not Tobe. So it's very interesting because it is still Tobe Hooper's film. They kept his name on it. He had never disowned it or anything like that. But it's something to mention that because Janice Blythe always gets the ask, oh, how is it like working with Hooper and Craven, back-to-back movies? She goes, well, I never worked with Hooper. He already fucking left by the time I got there and be casted. So all the scenes with Janice Blythe, she did not work with Tobe Hooper. Very interesting. I was like, holy shit, like that is so fucking crazy. But the movie still holds up. Tobe Hooper confirmed that the actor who played Judd was drunk the whole time on set. And honestly, it shows. Like, his performance in this is very hard to understand. A lot of it is him just fucking mumbling to himself. And it is entertaining. It is a good performance. But I do watch this one with the subtitles, like I was saying, because I can't understand what the fuck he's saying. Like, it is tough to see. Can someone confirm if Neville Brand eats cocaine in this movie? I see that he has a cocaine in his hand, but it's just like he shoves it in his mouth. Like, what the fuck? I can't confirm that either. I have the similar question. I don't know. I have no idea. Like, there are some things that we'll get into with this movie that I don't fucking know. And the character playing Marilyn Burns' husband, especially, I can't wait to get into that because I don't know what the fuck that guy's problem was. Neville Brand had wet brain. Well, Neville Brand, I believe, was a war vet. And man, he does such a fucking good job in this. Like, you feel his like craziness. It like fucking translates really well. Please don't mention soda or pop. Can't have any for a week. I'm half dying over here. Well, hang in there, Miss C. We're all cheering for you. Let's see. Aiden says Eaten Alive captures that EC Comics vibe perfectly before Creepshow. That's an interesting point. Yeah, definitely. The acting in this movie is out of this world. I mean, it has a really good cast. It really does. I mean, you also have Mel Ferrer in there. You also have Kyle Richards, pre-Halloween, of course. Granted, not a great actress, but still kind of crazy. Again, she worked with Hooper and Carpenter. Very cool enough. And Marilyn Burns, who, for my money, this will be a controversial thing to say, but for my money, I think Marilyn Burns might be the greatest scream queen ever. And now let me explain this. She may not be the best actress ever. She may not be, all that acting wise, but what she is when it comes to scream, the word scream queen, right? The scream, nobody has a better scream than Marilyn Burns. Like when Marilyn Burns is at that dinner table, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, scream with the rag, and they're taunting, woo, in the fucking 110-degree kitchen where they're having the dinner, and let's let Grandpa have this one. I mean, that her fucking screaming, you can fucking hear that scream from a mile away. You know it's Marilyn Burns. I mean, it's a distinct fucking scream of terror and horror. And it's no different than her screaming in this movie when Judd ties her up and she's screaming for help and gagged and tied up and being all scared and all that. Her fucking scream is the best. I love Marilyn Burns. May she rest in pepperonis. I also think she was a beautiful woman too, not for nothing. I had a huge crush on Marilyn Burns. That's somebody I would have loved to have fucking meet, because in my opinion, for my money, I know a lot of the people will tell you JLC. I know a lot of people will tell you Amy Steele, and Amy Steele was a saint when I met her and she signed this. Couldn't have been nicer. But in my opinion, was Scream, like when it comes to screaming, nobody beats Marilyn. Nobody puts Marilyn in the fucking corner, all right? I don't care what anybody gets to fucking say. One of the best things about Eaten Alive is Neville Brand being drunk the whole shoot. Yeah, and the fact that, you know, I was first introduced to Neville Brand from The Twilight Zone, the episode with he and George Takei and the encounter in the attic, and he's a raving maniac in that. It's kind of a slower descent where he's pounding down beers. Here, it's like, there are parts where he's very nice, and it seems like maybe he's not so fucking crazy. And then it fucking escalates. You know, all of these things escalate. I'm a huge fan of the set design in this too. Completely agree. Let's see. Aiden says you're correct. Eaten Alive was sort of directed by two people. My bad, Grande. I meant Eaten Alive. I missed the titles, but don't disrespect alligator or crocodile. Either some. Okay, fair enough. I know people always roast the effects of the alligator. I don't remember it looking that bad. I don't think it looks bad either. A lot of people. Oh, it's a rubber alligator. Yeah, it is a fucking, like, what did you expect? A real fucking, well, a rubber crocodile. Let's be politically correct here in Grande's Graveyard. We got Brian in the house. Hey, Grande. Brian, welcome, my friend. It was on VHS down here in Louisiana, so it might have been a region thing. I never saw it on the East Coast, and me and Sean are East Coast guys, so I don't know. Maybe this movie did not get a good distribution up here. I don't know. I first bought Eaten Alive on DVD in 2008 from Elite Entertainment. Wow, that's a blast from the past. Elite Entertainment. People say, yep, exactly. Elite Entertainment. That is exactly my fucking reaction. Oh my God, we have a ton of people in the fucking house. Trenchy is here. Trench, welcome, my friend. I'm going to go a little quicker through these comments. I want to review this movie. Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Eaten Alive, very influential to X and Pearl. X, like, after rewatching this, I like X even less. All he did was just copy. I'm going to put the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and fucking Eaten Alive and a porno together. That's all it fucking is. I'm going to put Jen Ortega and Brittany Snow in it. You fucking, oh my God, what a hack. Pearl was more like David Gordon Lewis. David Gordon Lewis. Jesus Christ. Herschel Gordon Lewis, not David Gordon Green, who go fuck himself. Herschel Gordon Lewis. That's more what that felt like. It felt like a early 1960s splatter film with the look and the brightness. And then, of course, the great performance from Mia Goth. I mean, the movie itself, not the greatest. Mia Goth, that's a performance worth talking about, is Mia Goth in that film. Haha, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Eaten Alive was filmed in a studio, right? Yeah. It was definitely filmed on a soundstage. There's no location that looks like this. And if there was, I wish I could go to it. Ashamed to say I haven't seen it, and I think it has to change. Well, hey, man. Highly recommend you give it a watch. It's definitely worth a watch. I think you could watch it on free from places. Sup, Sean Blue. Grande, do you read a lot of film books? No, I don't read a lot of film books. I do a lot of show prep. I'll tell you that much. Got to see Eaten Alive. I'd actually really like to hear your opinion on this one. I think it would be very interesting to hear your thoughts. I love Toby intro to the Arrow. Dude, the intro in this is so weird. It's a 20-second intro with Toby Hooper. It looks like they just fucking pulled him off the bathtub or something. He just comes out, he's all disheveled. He's like, they're about to watch Eaten Alive. And it's it. It's like the weirdest, most quick introduction. 20 seconds. If you blink, you'll miss it. As far as perfect horror films, Kubrick's The Shining, Friedkin's Exorcist, Hooper's TCM, I may be a bit biased because those are my top three films. Well, I mean, you can't go wrong with any of those. And like, again, you're talking The Shining would probably be in my top 5. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my number 2. I mean, you can't go wrong with any of those, man. I think you picked great titles there. Cocaine Croc. Oh my goodness, we have so many fucking comments. I'm trying to catch up. Yeah, the gator does look pretty bad at certain times, but those dark red lights really help to make the gator and make it look more realistic. I don't know. I gotta say, I don't think the gator effects really bothered me here. LOL, definitely take Marilyn Burns over JLC. Hell yeah, I'm happy to hear that. People, JLC won an Oscar, Grande. Go fuck yourself. No, fuck you, Marilyn Burns, baby. MB. I don't know what her middle name is. Is it MLB? Yeah, that would be hysterical. MLB. That's cool. I respect it. Kubrick mine is because of dental surgery. I'm having to hard time giving it up. Absolutely. Yo, I could see what Grande means. Marilyn Burns has a set of chords that she killed. She does, man. And also those eyes, those fucking beautiful eyes she has. They just tell a story of horror, man. She was great. I would say so too. Name me somebody with a more iconic scream that you would like. I would love, you know how they do these videos where people test drinks and, oh, that's Diet Coke, oh, that's Pepsi. I would love to do like a video where you hear screams, and like I guarantee you Marilyn Burns would be the most identified one. Jonas conflicted and a really good guy struggling with his sexual sins. Well, I mean, these things happen. Green, wrong director. Don't really care for Herschel Gordon Lewis's films. I can understand that. That description and short review of X was truly awesome. That's all it is. It's all I'm gonna fucking rip off. I'm gonna rip off Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm gonna rip off fucking Eaten Alive, and I'm gonna make a porno. That's all he fucking did. I mean, I like a few of Gordon's, but I never exactly been crazy about his work. I saw a pretty cool Herschel Gordon Lewis documentary. I have the set, the Herschel Gordon Lewis set, which is really cool to watch. It's like $50, a little bit expensive from Arrow. Grande, I'm late because I watched Castle Freak. You should watch it. If nothing else is worthy of a Grande rant. Oh, you talking about the remake of Castle Freak? Oh, man, the remake, I don't have the bravery to see it. She's got to be talking about the remake. Yeah, because I love the original. Daria Nicolodi has a great, oh, man, may she rest in peace, too. I love Daria. But I'm caught up with the comments. Let me get a little bit more into this fucking film. That has got to be the longest ever it took me to catch up with the fucking comments. And sure enough, another one comes in. Juno 2000. Hey there, Grande. What are your thoughts on Evil Dead Rise? I didn't see Evil Dead Rise, honestly, because I got busy. That's basically the Buffy the Vampire Slayer answer. Hey, have you accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? Yeah, I thought about it, but then I got busy, you know? I mean, it is what it is. But thank you. I appreciate you joining Judo 2000. But yeah, no, I mean, this movie has some interesting fucking characters, right? Of course, we have the opening kill of the Roberta Collins character, who, fun fact, of course, Neville Brand hit on her during the shooting of this, and she hated making this movie. She said in interviews that she despised this film, despised working in it, because Neville Brand was trying to hit on her all drunk, and she was like way younger than him, and he was like, hey baby, like let's have some fun together, and she was like, stay the fuck away from me, you fucking weirdo. So yeah, that was a real thing that was going on. So Roberta Collins hates this movie. She gets all scythed up and eaten by the croc. I mean, it's a very cool opening kill scene. And then, of course, we're introduced to the dysfunctional family of the evening, all right? Of course, we have Marilyn Burns playing Faye, the pill-popping mother wearing a wig. Why the fuck? I mean, they might say it, but it's like, you don't even have to really know. You have William Finley as Roy, the father Roy, who is easily the craziest character in this movie. I don't know what the fuck was up with this guy. He is yelling for no reason at Marilyn Burns. They're in the room after Snoopy. Of course, Kyle Richards, her dog, gets eaten by the crocodile about 2 minutes after they get out of the fucking car to the Starlight Hotel. And of course, she's crying about it. They infer that she might have polio, which I'm like, what? Like, really? Like, they're fucking, Kyle Richards has fucking polio? Okay. So they fucking check into the room and they're trying to console their daughter at first. And then for some reason, William Finley goes crazy. He's just like, oh, you know, that you take my eye out, honey. You take my eye out. He goes, nah, there it is. I'm sitting here. I'm like, what in the fuck am I watching? Like, I have no idea what was wrong with this guy. He seems schizophrenic. And then for some reason, he gets up and he's for no reason. He doesn't say a word. He looks like he's trying to pass a big shit. He looks like he's constipated. He just gets up and he's like this, and just this to man birds. And it looks like he's trying to push out the most massive monkey shit that he has ever taken in his fucking life. And he's like, nee! I'm sitting here, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? I have no idea. Judd is normal compared to this fucking guy. And out of nowhere, he starts barking like a dog. He's like, arr, 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 to taunt his daughter, who has just had her fucking pet dog, Snoopy, eaten in front of her by a fucking 10-foot long crocodile. And this guy decides, I'm going to bark to taunt my own fucking kid. What the hell? What? This guy is crazy. There is feeding people to a crocodile, and then there is William Finley in this movie. I have no idea. If there was cocaine on this set, he took the most. There is no doubt in my mind. It is bizarre. And then I'm going to kill the croc for my daughter after I taunted her and pretended to be a fucking canine. He goes out there with a fucking gun, and Judd's like, what the hell are you doing? I am too. Like, what is going on in this fucking thing? He gets fucking scythed and, eaten by the croc, and it's the beautiful blood red sky, the whole atmosphere of the film and aesthetic. I'm like, wow, okay, like that's a fucking interesting death scene. And then of course we get introduced to believe the characters' names are Harvey and Libby Wood, played by Mel Ferrer and Kristen Sinclair. Kristen Sinclair, in my opinion, of this movie, that's the most beautiful woman in this movie, man. Wow. She was in, I believe, a movie with Roberta Collins. I think they were in a women in prison film, I think a couple of years before this. I want to get the name of it right. I think it's called Caged Heat. Yeah, Caged Heat. They both are in that movie. And man, she is gorgeous in this. And you do get to see yitties. So you get to see plenty of fucking yitties in this. And Kristen Sinclair's were easily my favorite. I mean, what a beautiful fucking women. As they're looking for Roberta, the prostitute, the hooker with a heart of gold, who ran out away from fucking Carolyn Jones and got killed by Judd. They're on the lookout for her, and they go to the sheriff department. They're running back and forth. That's where a lot of people say this movie kind of falters, is the stuff with the sheriff, because it really doesn't have to be in there. There's a whole scene in the bar that a lot of people feel that really hurts the steam and momentum of the movie. I understand that. I can understand that. But I do think at the same time, the movie has enough surreal atmosphere to it to keep you watching. I don't get bored with this one personally. However, there's a movie that we're going to talk about a little bit later that I did get a little bit bored with it. Whereas this, I'm like, no way. In comparison to this is entertaining compared to the fucking last movie I watched on here. But there's an interesting sequence where, of course, Judd ties Marilyn Burns up to the bed and gags her and beats her and whips her over the head. And then, of course, he chases Kyle Richards underneath the Starlight Hotel and releases the croc to try to get her. I think that those were some very interesting tension-filled sequences. There's a really cool scene where Robert Englund and Janice Blythe, they go back to the Starlight Hotel to have sex. You see Janet Blythe's Yates, beautiful lady. Then you get this great chase sequence between her and Judd as he's chasing her throughout the woods and the forest, and you get this awesome blue atmosphere and blue lighting, and he loses her in the fog. And of course, she gets picked up by a car. Fun fact, that was her car. I mean, that's the type of movie this was. I mean, fuck it, you're gonna get rescued in your own fucking car. So I thought that was funny. Robert Englund gets taken out by the gator or the croc, whatever the fuck. That's a great scene. The croc will eat anything. He'll even eat a whole buck. I mean, I like how he's kind of taunting him and stuff like that. I think, while it pales in comparison to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's batshit enough to keep you watching. And I think that it's entertaining enough for at least for a one-time watch. I know there's a lot of people that do not like this movie. They think it's garbage. I don't know if I think it's garbage, but I also don't know if I think it's great at the same time. It's one of those like tweener movies for me. Like, there are things I do like about it. The look of the movie is number one, first and foremost. I do like adding a slasher movie with an animal attack movie. I thought that was a very interesting thing for Tobe Hooper to kind of tackle here as a filmmaker, especially, some people will say third time out. To me, it was second time out, because eggshells, it's like, all right, it's fucking eggshells. You know what I mean? This movie, as a sophomore movie, it does suffer in places. You could tell that, Tobe Hooper wasn't there for some of it. Now, even some of the marketing, Marty Rustum presents. Marty Rustum's name is so frequently used in the advertising and the trailers. The made from the director of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They keep saying that stuff in it. Like, where you're like, this is funny how it's kind of marketed. But I mean, this movie, I like it. I always sort of did like it. I think it's kind of surreal. I like how, Neville Brand is in the film. I like the cast. You see a bunch of good-looking women. You see a bunch of naked good-looking women. You have that like I said, that nightmarish filter and look and use of all these primary reds, blues, purples, magentas, all these beautiful colors. There's definitely something to be had here. I think this is a solid movie. I never had a problem with it, but I at the same time, I don't say I would love it either. I think it's a solid movie, a passable movie, a movie that I would definitely watch with friends. I think it would be a good double feature with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've never back to back watched them, but it would be interesting. Or this and like The Hills Have Eyes, or this and another exploitation movie. Like I definitely think this is worth like a double bill. It doesn't run its welcome too long. It's about an hour and a half. I don't know. I really like Eaten Alive. I think it's a fun movie. I think it's well done for the most part. I know a lot of people have some complaints about the pacing. A lot of people have complaints about how fake the crocodile looks. I don't have any of those complaints. The only. I guess if I had a complaint, man, what would be my main complaint here? It's kind of tough. I don't know. I don't really have that main complaint. It's just maybe you could have given the Judd character a little bit more, like maybe why he's crazy, as opposed to just he's just fucking crazy. Like there's really no backstory. There's no scene where he breaks down and we get to see the reason as to why he is this way. I think that would have been very interesting here. Instead of some of the pointless stuff with the cop and sheriff and stuff like that. Like there's a scene where the sheriff and the fucking Libby Wood go out to dinner. Like why? Like why is that in there? Like it's just very odd. Like I much would have rather a little bit more with Judd and maybe a monologue of God damn it, like maybe post-traumatic stress from the war, something like that, where he's just like he's not in his right mind and we could see sort of his side. I think that would have been interesting, but there just seems to be not that much focus. That's a thing here. There's not much focus. It's so fucking all over the place. I mean, it's a little bit of a slasher movie. It's a little bit of an animal attack. It's a little bit of a, giallo looking movie with all these lights and colors and things like that. It's a little bit of a, nightmare. It's like an artificial nightmare. I think that's the best way to describe this. Artificial nightmares compared to the organic nightmare that is known as the, idyllic summer afternoon drive in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is the artificial nightmare. But I do think it has merit. I do think it's worth a watch. I do. I really do believe that. So let me get back to comments and we'll give a rating before we move on. I think, holy moly. Roy is insane and losing it. Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely wild. Let's see. Blissful is here. Blissful, welcome, my friend. Hope all is well with you. It's crazy how Eaten Alive works with all these small sets. Yeah, no, I mean, a part of me thinks, that whole look of it just makes them like, okay, I know this is not a Universal movie, but this would have worked great for like a Universal Horror Nights. Like imagine they did Universal Horror Nights with this movie. I think it would be fucking incredible with all that lighting and the set anyway. I think that would be a prime thing to do. Like I don't know who owns this. I don't know who owns the rights to this. But again, man, this is a movie that Sean and I, like we both said, never got our hands on. And I saw Alpha. I briefly read some of the other comments. I saw Alpha mention that this one eluded him too. I don't know. I'm not sure if he was an East Coast guy all his life or where he was from or whatever the fuck. But this one alluded to East Coast people. It also alluded, Alpha. So very interesting. I mean, it just seems to have eluded people. Mernsey, it eluded a lot of people. So I don't know. I don't know who owns the rights to this. I definitely think it should have gotten better distribution than it did because you have 4 diehard horror fans, all of us, and eluded us all somehow. That I can't be a coincidence. Roy is insane and losing it. Yeah, absolutely. He's great. Nightmare to Damaged Brain too. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it is absolutely wild. This is people saying hi to one another. This movie sounds amazing. Sean says so many quirky moments in Eaten Alive. Absolutely. Eaten Alive captures the vibe and feel of a nightmare perfectly. It is a exploitation animal attack nightmare. And it's fucking wild. It really is. Finley in the Phantom of the Paradise. That's right. Somebody else from this movie was also in Phantom of the Paradise. I can't fucking think of who. I might have been Janice Blythe. I'm not sure. I'm not going to check right now, but I think she might have been in Phantom of the Paradise as well. Yes, it is. It's fantastic. I'm surprised they haven't re-released this on 4K because I think it would be even better looking if possible. Nicholas Winding Refn, a huge fan of Tobe Hooper. Yeah. That motherfucker. Watch the Neon Demon. That's how you borrow elements without doing what Ty West did with X and fucking make something worth a shit with these elements that you learn from horror movies all over the years. That's how you do it. Watch that movie. Watch Neon Demon from Nicholas Winding Refn. Thank me fucking later. That movie does feel like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, it definitely has those vibes, and in the color of this film. I mean, it definitely, that to me is how you fucking rip off, someone that you looked up to and pay homage, I guess. Hell yeah, Tax, people saying hi. Eaten Alive is worth double feature with yeah, I think so too. I think that would be an interesting double feature, man. Hey, Blissful, So True Dirk, it's a perfect double feature. I've never watched them as a double feature, but I definitely would like to. I think it'd be fun. Hell not, I'd buy that. Alpha's here. Alpha, welcome, my friend. This movie has always eluded me for some reason. I need to see it at some point. Yeah, it eluded me for a long time too, though. You're not alone. I'll have to pick up the Arrow Blu-ray someday. Sounds fun, dude. Absolutely worth a shot, in my opinion. I mean, if you're a fan of Tobe Hooper, then Eat Alive is something you got to see. I'd agree. I think it's definitely a quintessential Tobe Hooper movie. Like, it really is. Even though I know there were issues. I mean, this is a guy that had a lot of issues in his career, right? Like, he was replaced on The Dark, which comes out in 1979, I believe. He passed up E.T. They initially went to Tobe Hooper to direct E.T., and he said no. Like, if there's a mistake that motherfucker made in his life, that's the mistake. And then people, oh, well, he did Poltergeist. And it's the whole, controversy wasn't really him. Was it Spielberg? Because the movie looks like a Spielberg movie. It feels, sounds, looks, and tastes like Steven Spielberg. Yet there's the whole controversy of who the director was. And some people say it was Toby. Some people say it was Steven Spielberg. I mean, if you're judging by the look of it, you have to say it was Spielberg. But I don't know. I wasn't there. You weren't there. We'll never know. Hey, Romero. Hell yeah, Sean gets better with every watch from me. The country gospel music Judge listens to makes me think he's conflicted with Christianity. Yeah, I wish we would have gotten maybe a scene of that. Like, maybe like him talk, I don't know, just a little bit more than just the fucking gibbering and babbling to himself. Like, I would have loved to have seen a little bit more there. But again, at the same time, enjoying the stream and chilling. Hell yeah, man. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is in my top 5 favorite scary movies ever, but I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a Tobe Hooper fan. There's a lot of people that feel that way. I would say Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my number 2. It's Dawn of the Dead, then it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Those are 1 and 2 for me. And I know Alpha is Dawn of the Dead's his number 1, so I mean, we're on the same page there. And I mean, yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in my opinion, has got to be your fucking top 5. I mean, it's a perfect movie. It really is. I can't relate to that feeling. Subjective. Love Neon Demon. I love it too. Grande, you're right. Janice Blythe was apparently. Hell yeah. We got a brain up here. We got a couple brain cells left. Let's just hope they don't rub together and start a fire in my fucking head. The Neon Demon is phenomenal. I agree. I would love to talk about that movie one day. Labyrinth UFC breakdown. Smash the like button. I am too enjoying the show. Welcome, my friend. And also next week, I know Labyrinth was excited for this. Top 10 baseball movies next week on Grande's Graveyard. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've got the list all cooked up, and we're going to deliver it next week, okay? So Thursday of next week, which is the 20th of July, we'll be doing top 10 baseball movies. So I'm super excited about that. But Eaten Alive, to me, it's a solid 7 out of 10. I think it's a solid video nasty. And one last thing before we move on to Love Camp 7. Mary Whitehouse herself, who was the whole, the bitchy lady from Britain who kind of inspired the whole Video Nasties, the DPP list, and she was the lead of the BBFC. She hated this movie in particular. So this is a movie you could thank for the Video Nasties list existing as a whole, right? Of course, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the movie that everybody says that's the reason there's Video Nasties list. That's not a Video Nasty. That's not on the list of 72 banned films. However, this made it, and as does the Funhouse, which is even less offensive than this movie. I mean, this movie has some yets. It has some gore. It has some violence. But nasty? I don't think so. I just don't think so. I don't think it's really worth a Video Nasty title rating. That's just me, though. I don't know. Maybe they confused it. But granted, at the same time, I know they didn't, because she hated this movie. She was, this movie is insincere and horrible and all these things. So she was a big reason that this movie made it on the list. So I always thought that was kind of funny. Mary Whitehouse hated this one, so she can go fuck herself. Let's see. I'm such a Tobe Hooper fan. I'll defend the Mangler. Oh boy, that's a tough defense. It was both the Spielberg vibes are stronger, but Hooper is mixed in there. It's like Spielberg was the base, but Hooper is sprinkled in. You could see it with the mirror and the skeleton scene and some others. Yeah, no, it's almost like they co-directed, but only Tobe got the credit. 8 out of 10 for me. And then, the impartial credit went to Spielberg. So I don't know. Mangler's great. I mean, I guess we got some Ted Levine fans in the house. I don't mind the Mangler's not horrible. I would say I like this more than the Mangler though. That would be me though. But all right, let's move on here. Let's move on to the next movie of the evening. Of course, this one from the sexy year of 1969. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 1969. This movie comes out. It is not only the first Nazisploitation movie ever made, it is also the first women in prison movie ever made. Yes, so this was a groundbreaker on a lot of different levels. And is it worthy of being called a groundbreaker? Is it worthy of being a pioneer that drove the ships, into the 1970s from the 1960s? I'm talking about this movie here from 1969. This is Love Camp 7. Yes, Love Camp 7. Brief plot synopsis that I wrote myself. 2 female army agents go undercover at an all-female Nazi prison called Love Camp 7. Their mission? To get information from a scientist being held captive there. Soon, they are subjected to brutal punishments and grimy men. Can they complete their task, or will they fall victim to the degradation and horror that awaits them in Love Camp 7? Love Camp 7. All right, so Love Camp 7 comes out in 1969. Of course, like I was saying, this is the first Nazisploitation. This is the first, of course, women in prison movie. And right off the bat, it is worthy of being a video nasty just because it was the first of its kind. Nobody had really seen a movie like this. But like, of course, Dirk was mentioning before, is it as offensive as The Beast in Heat? No. Is it as offensive as a Gestapo's Last Orgy? No. Is it is it as offensive as an SS experiment camp, or nasty as an SS experiment love camp? No. Is it as good as a Women Behind Bars from a Jess Franco? I mean, I would say it's on the same level personally. I mean, there's a lot of movies that have this type of, aesthetic, that has this type of story, this plot, what have you. But at the same time, there's also big criticism of these movies that they don't have a plot. They're just there for, sleaze and cheese and, people acting over the top and being fucking anti-Semitic and all these things. And there are people that feel that these are the only real cause for concern to watch one of these movies. And I understand that. I want to read a statement here that I got from the BBFC. Now, if you go to the BBFC's website, you could type in all of these movies that were banned at some point or another. Love Camp 7 was prosecuted, and to this day, as of July 13th of 2023, this movie is still fucking banned in Great Britain. That is wild. That we live in a world, 2023, that this movie is still fucking prosecuted. And in my opinion, it is nowhere near as offensive as fucking Gestapo's Last Orgy. But I want to get this quote because this is apparently the reason that this movie, and if it has not been unprosecuted at this point, I don't believe it ever will. This was 1969. The movie got prosecuted, I believe, in 1981, 1982-ish. You're talking over 40 fucking years that this movie has been prosecuted. I don't think it's ever going to get fucking past there. It was also banned in Australia, for what it's worth. But I want to read this quote here. Though this was from someone at the BBFC. The whole purpose of Love Camp 7 is to invite male viewers to relish the spectacle of naked women being humiliated just for their titulation. And I guess emphasis on the titulation. We're going to say yitulation. That's just me. I get it. I get the gripe, and I could see how a politically correct person would say that and feel that way about a movie like this. But at the same time, I wouldn't think they would be too familiar with exploitation cinema, Nazisploitation cinema, any kind of exploitation cinema you want to discuss, right? And I would say also feminist horror cinema, right? You look at you look at I Spit on Your Grave. That's more of a feminist horror movie, right? Yes, a woman does get broken, raped, beyond all fucking recognition, and she gets absolutely humiliated and tortured and all these things. She does get her vengeance. She does spit on their graves. She kills their asses at the end. There's a payoff. She's the protagonist. She gets hers, and then she gives them their just desserts back. They call her One Eye. So many exploitation movies where, we see women as the victims rise above the big bad wolf antagonist at the end. And this movie is no exception there. There are women that get fucking raped. There are women that get tortured. There are women that get humiliated and degraded. However, at the same fucking time, they do get their fucking revenge at the end. So to the whole thing of, it's just to watch, women and your utilization, all that stuff. no, that you, if you want to watch that, you watch fucking porn. If you want to watch that, you watch a more sleazy, definitely more soft movie than you'd watch this. That's just me. To me, this is for a horror fan. There's sleaze in there, but sleaze is not. There's sleaze in Eaten Alive, and that is that a fucking, oh my god, all this nonsense. That movie though didn't get prosecuted. I mean, it is what it is. That whole kind of thing, I had to address that. I'm like, like, have you really seen exploitation though? I mean, these women do rise above and fucking kick some ass at the end. I don't know. That's just me. But this movie is very interesting. Of course, it was written by Bob Kreese, who also plays the lead, like, Nazi army director, the commandant, if you will. And he goes batshit crazy in this. He's a little overweight. He has this fun, German accent and all these things. And you will find yourself quite at home at Love Camp 7. I can't do a good German accent, but the guy is great. And I think he gives the best performance in the movie. We are introduced to our two lead characters, of course, Maria Leese and Kathy Williams, who play Linda Harmon and Grace Freeman, respectively. They are these great, secret agent women, army women who have like a great memory. They can remember everything that you ever tell them. So their mission is to get in there, and in 5 days, the cavalry will arrive, and they're supposed to remember this information that they're given from a scientist. That's the whole plan. We go there, survive 5 days, go through whatever you have to go through, and then when you get out, you give us the valuable information that we need, and we can all live happily ever after. But where the horror kicks in, not the utilation, right? Where the horror kicks in is, how far could you really put your own self-respect, in order to do your job, right? Like, these women are volunteering to go into a love camp where they are going to be raped. They are going to be tortured. They are going to be whipped. They are going to be hosed down and humiliated. They are going to be made to sit on the seat of honor, the seat of honor, the seat of honor, the seat of honor, where it is this giant table with a point at the end. And they have to they put these women on with no pants, and they have to fucking sit on the seat of honor and scream for hours and hours and hours in agony. And it is horrifying to watch, really horrifying. They are forced into sex with these awful pig men who, for some reason in this movie, which I guess that's the 1969 nature in it, all the men in this movie never take their pants off. They're making out, and they're like dry humping these women with their fucking pants on. Like, I'm like sitting there, I'm like, wouldn't you take your fucking pants off, my guy? Like, you're not going to get much fucking happiness or enjoyment or pleasure with your I mean, but that's the utilation here, ladies and gents. That's the utilation. That's the only reason we come to watch these movies. God damn it. God, that fucking quote is such bullshit, in my opinion. If it was a fucking porno, yeah, it's not. There's none of that in this movie. Of course, there's a very interesting scene where, after this woman is being tortured on the seat of honor, she gets off after 17 hours of sitting on this with this thing fucking rammed up her pussy. She gets off, and the captain goes, okay, so you want to show your obedience to me. You're going to lick my boots clean. And she starts to have to lick this guy's boots clean. Humiliating, degrading. And that's the horror that plays out here. How far will you go to accomplish your job and complete your mission? And it seems like a split story, right? One of them is I wouldn't say embracing the job, but she's going with it, right? She is having sex with these men. She's trying to keep her mind out of it, keep her head in the game, but at the same time, she's not trying to restrain or push away. Well, the other one is absolutely psychologically losing her mind, right? She's having sex with these pig men, and you see it's getting to her. She can't handle it, and she feels degraded. And that's, I think, truly horrifying in and of itself. Like, okay, I'll put myself in that situation. If that was happening, okay, all of these things just to accomplish my job, I don't want to be at that job anymore. I mean, I know a lot of people that when you work a job like that, like when you work in a prison, like I know people that were like officers in prisons, they are not the fucking same motherfuckers they are when they started as opposed to when they finish. It changes you. It really does. And I know some people probably, oh, it's intolerant. No, I think it's a fact. It's very rare you see somebody unaltered or unaffected when you're in an environment like that day in and day out. You start to lose your fucking mental health. And I don't recommend that for anybody, man. That is the last thing you want to do is sacrifice your mental health for a payday. And man, I don't care how good that payday is. It's just not worth it. It's just really sick what they make these women do. And of course, it all kind of culminates in this very fun final act where they're having an orgy in the love camp room, the love camp office, and the cavalry arrives. And there's a very fun scene where they all just kind of clean house and blow these fucking Nazi officers' heads off and kneeing them in the face and doing like these kind of kung fu moves. And there's a very interesting storyline where one of the guards sort of falls for the one that's been embracing this whole thing, and they've been looking at each other. They've had this kind of stare off where she knows I'm still doing my job, blows this guy away, even though she did feel sympathy and pity because he didn't want to be there, and she did kind of feel a little bit of lust for the guy. They have sex, but she's eventually still, I'm here to do my job. Like she's almost like a robot. Like I'm here to fucking get the job done. Like that's a fucking hardcore bitch, man. I am not as tough as that lady. That's a hardcore lady right there, man. God bless her. But she gets her ass taken out, and then the one that has been humiliated, tortured, and mentally kind of fried throughout this whole thing, she escapes. She escapes with the information, the plans, and their whole kind of love camp goes to shit. But a very interesting thing as this movie wraps up, which I thought was very interesting to throw in there, is the movie the whole time is kind of being told through the perspective of this guy who's reliving the glory days. Oh, I wish I could go back there, it speaks to his fucking insanity. You wish you could go back there? You fucking put these poor women in a fucking Nazi prison experiment camp where they got fucking raped and sodomized and fucking hosed and all of these things. I mean, you're a piece of shit. You relive your glory days. Go fuck yourself, my guy. But anyway, he gets into the car, and the woman that is playing his wife is the lady who was in the camp, and she's almost in a daze, almost suggesting that she lost her mind there. And of course, he probably convinced her, hey, let's get married and things like that, showing you the true horror of this. There's no winners or good guys in this situation. The people that sent her in are horrible. The people that were in there are horrible. There's really nobody other than the two female leads to root for here. And it's kind of a knock on these awful men that, sent these women in basically to do a fucking really, really tough job. But I do think the acting all around is quite good. I was surprised at a movie like this, a Nazisploitation movie, low budget, that the acting was as good as it was. Like I said, the lead commander guy is great. He just chews the fucking scenery. Bob Kreese, he's so fucking good in this movie. I think he's great. Bruce Kimball plays another sergeant, really good. Just a fucking sleaze bag that you wanted to fucking get his own, and he does, thankfully. There's gore. There's a lot of yits. There's a lot of, nasty stuff in it. I do think it's worthy of being a nasty because, like I said, all the women in prison movies that come after, they're disciples of this. All the Nazisploitation, the Ilse She-Wolf of the SS, all of these movies that came after are because of this movie. This movie kind of, ran so those movies could fly, if you will. And it's not, is it the greatest movie in the world? No, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's a fucking 10 out of 10 or a great movie or even a good movie in that circumstance. But I do think it's an important movie. I really do. I think this was a pioneer in those two genres, and I do think it's important for that. So rating here, I'm going to go like a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's solid enough. I think it's definitely worth a watch. It's very cheap Blu-ray. I got this Blu-ray for like $5-6 from Blue Underground, our good friends over at Blue Underground. Bare bones, no features, just one really weird fucking documentary from Something Weird Video, where it's not even a documentary. They're just showing you Nazisploitation movies. There's nobody talking. It's just trailers of Nazisploitation movies for like 80 minutes, which I was like, what the fuck? It's just odd. But I don't know. Love Camp 7, one that I definitely think people need to see a little bit more. It's a little bit underseen, but I definitely think people should give this one a watch. So Love Camp 7 comes in at a 6.5. Let me go back to the chat because I don't know if this is one where a lot of people have seen or have talked about here. Let's see. I think we were here. Judd is screaming horror and trying to rape is fucking insane. Yeah, the Mangler never clicked for me. I even bought the Scream Factory Blu-ray and gave another chance. It's just such an awkward movie for me. I can understand that completely. One of the classic non-fictional Holocaust books was The Diary of Anne Frank, who began writing it during World War II when she and her family were hiding in the attic from the Nazis. Well, yeah, no, that's some real life horror right there. I seen Love Camp 7 one time, a 35 millimeter print screening with I Spit on Your Grave. I think that's a perfect double feature over 15 years ago, but haven't seen Love Camp 7 since. I think it's a good one. I mean, I'm one of those people, I want to own all the Nasties someday. Like I really, really, it's like a bucket list thing. I want to own all of them. I think I have a little over 30 Nasties. So I definitely, there's only 40 something more that I have, or actually around, I think 36 would be the halfway point because it's 72. So I don't know. I'd have to count. If I'm at 36, I have half of them. So I definitely want to own them all one day. That's a thing for me. So this is of the Nazisploitation stuff. This is the first one I own. I think there's 4, including this one. It's S Experiment, Camp, Gestapo's Last Orgy, and The Beast and Heat. Those are the other 3 Nazisploitations. When you go down these nasty roads, there's no turning back. There's definitely no turning back when you turn on Love Camp 7. Watch the trailer to this. It's so fucking cheesy. They just keep saying Love Camp 7 over and over and over and over again to the point where it becomes kind of funny. LOL, it's a one-way ticket. It is. It really is. LOL, Dirk. Yeah. John Steele is here. Only. Hell yeah, man. Always good to have the steel cage match in the house. Hello there, Steele. Hell yeah, Sean, and don't regret it one bit. Of course not. Of course not. People saying hi to one another. Cheese, sleaze, yits, exploitation, Grande. You're talking my movie language. Well, if you love yits and you love some sleaze, this movie is definitely for you. Dr. Tar's Torture Dungeon. Find it and watch. Okay, hell yeah. I own 39 of that were prosecuted, and I too gotta get them all. It's like the Pokemon, gotta catch them all, you and me. I know it's my destiny. Haven't seen Love Camp, but sounds worthy of a watch. It is. I think it's worthy of a watch. It's definitely not the greatest movie in the world, and I don't think it's really that worthy of being still prosecuted in fucking Great Britain. It eventually got passed in Australia, I believe in 2005, because finally you can legally watch it. But in Great Britain, if you watch this movie, you're breaking the law. God damn it. Breaking the law. Breaking the law. Which is fucking odd. I mean, before I move on Unhinged, maybe the anti-Semitic nature, like maybe that stuff. Because whenever you get into religion, that could really fucking get people mad at you, and maybe that's why. Maybe because it's Nazisploitation, just the content in its own. But they made a point that it's degrading women, like it's the titillation of women. That's the reason that it's so. If that's the case, wouldn't all of them still be bad? I mean, like fucking does Eaten Alive necessarily treat women better than this movie? Like, I don't get that whole. I would get it if it's through anti-Semitism. I get that. Granted, there's not too much in here. Like, there's a lot of calling people pigs and stuff like that, and mentioning of gas chambers and stuff like that. But it's not. There's not a ton of like racial Jewish slurs in this movie that'll make you turn. It's not like a Fight for Your Life where every fucking line of Fight for Your Life is a racial like comment, which is fucked up. I still think the Video Nasties documentaries from Severin are still the best horror exploitation docs I've ever seen every time. Oh man, dude, I have it right here. This is my Bible. Like Christians have the Bible, whatever the fuck. You know, some people have the Torah. This is my Bible. I love this. This is one of my favorite DVD sets ever. I always break this out when I'm doing a Nasty show because to me it's the definitive fucking guide to all 72 Video Nasties. You can watch the documentary on this disc, and then, of course, the prosecuted versus the unprosecuted movies. I might have actually, this is the non-prosecuted, this is the prosecuted disc. They have all these sort of interviews with these film historians, some really, really great, smart, intelligent people on here, and then they play all 72 trailers. I mean, just great. I mean, to me, the absolute, if there's a must-own in anybody's collection that is a DVD, not a Blu-ray or whatever the fuck, it's this. Buy this. It's so fucking good and worth it, especially if you're a Nasties fan. But with that being said, let's get on to our final film of the evening. Yes, our final film of the evening was a first-time watch. I thought I'd seen it before. I was wrong. This was a first-time watch for me. This is from the year 1982. This is Unhinged. Yes, Unhinged from 1982. I do not own this one, of course. This was released on, of course, DVD from, I believe, Blair Wood Entertainment, which I have never fucking heard of. I asked my good brother, Brandon, aka Whopper Horror, who's been on here for some of course, roundtables in the past. So shout out to Brandon Whopper Horror. He has the DVD of this. I don't. And there, to this day, has never been a Blu-ray of this, which actually surprises me because it is a nasty. I do think Severin will put this out someday. Or even maybe a Vincent would put something like this out, or a partner label. Someone will eventually put this out on Blu-ray or 4K or both. It will definitely happen because there's, of course, the demand to own all the nasties now. If they're putting movies like Delirium, if they're putting movies like Mardi Gras Massacre, if they're putting movies like fucking, I Miss You Hugs and Kisses out on fucking 4K Blu-ray special editions. Unhinged will get a release because this movie has way more of a cult following than any of those movies I just mentioned. But I mean, it is what it is. But let me get into a brief plot synopsis. College students Terry, Nancy, and Gloria are on their way to a rock concert, driving through a torrential rainstorm, only to crash their car, badly injuring one of them. Seeking shelter and aid, they come across a house occupied by a man-hating mother and her daughter. Soon, the girls begin to go disappearing one by one until we meet the killer in the shocking final act. Yes, Unhinged. Wow. So many different thoughts, so many different like opinions run through my head. And I watched this just for the first time yesterday. I mean, this was a first time watch, and I have a lot of opinion in this movie. Like, I'm so torn because, okay, first and foremost, this movie does some of the little things right. What do I mean by that? Atmosphere right off the bat is very good, and it's very creepy. It's very unsettling. Number two, shooting it on location. They shoot it in an actual like rural mansion. I believe this was shot in oh my god, I want to say, I'm going to have to cheat and look this up. I'm sorry. Portland. I'm sorry. It was Portland where they shot this movie. And all of the actors and actresses were from Portland. They were all Portland locals. This was a super low budget film, shot for about $100,000. I believe they finished the script in the late 1970s, started to shoot in the early 1980s. And of course, trying to capitalize on the slasher craze, right? I mean, that was their idea. Can we make a movie for cheap that can capitalize on the success of Friday the 13th and Halloween and all of these slasher movies that are coming up around the corner, whether it be The Burning, another video nasty that I quite love, whether it be Madman, whether it be all these slasher movies that were coming around the pike in 1981. And of course, here's 1982, where they give their movie a whirl, where we have a low budget, but we're going to make a slasher movie. We're going to have to try to make it feel different, try to make it a little bit more distinguishable in that whole shuffle. Otherwise, we get lost in the shuffle. And for a long time, this was lost in the shuffle. However, it does a good job to distinguish and differentiate itself from some of those other movies. And that's all due to the ending. So, right, on location, atmosphere, good stuff. However, while it does some of those little things right, it does some of the big things wrong. I am very, very rarely one to come on here and tell you I think a film is dull or boring. I try to avoid that word so much. I think it is the most overused word in every review. When someone, oh man, it's boring. That's all you got? Really? Like, can you fucking expand on that? Like, you're not a good reviewer, man. You're just going to say it's fucking boring. I don't want to listen to you no more. You're fucking boring. But I digress, because this movie, I will say, it is boring. And I swear to you, I'm not just saying that. I'm not just blowing smoke. This is a guy that thinks Burnt Offerings is one of those entertaining movies of all time. I've had people tell me Burnt Offerings put them to sleep within 10 minutes. I mean, there are some boring movies considered by many that I fucking love. This movie is dull. It is 78 minutes before credits, and it still feels like it's a 2-hour movie. Like, it is dull, boring, and it feels long. It just does. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's a big fucking fatal flaw to this movie to me. You will fucking, a few times, like, I don't know if people, like, if they like to fucking play on their phones. This is a movie where if it wasn't my first time watching, I would have played on my phone through it. It was just that dull in spots. The acting in this movie, holy fucking balls. The acting in this movie is horrible. Not even like, oh, it was so bad it's good. I'm saying horrible. Like, to the point where I think the Troll 2 actors are better than the people in this movie. Like, oh my God, the girls playing Terry and Nancy, respectively, are fucking unbearably bad at acting. They're both easy on the eyes. They're both good-looking women. Like, I can bring up maybe what they look like. This is, of course, Sarah Ansley, as she's one of them. She's our first to go. She's the lady on the DVD cover, which I think that's a great iconic image of that DVD cover. I think that's a great, great image to sell your film. And then this fucking bitch, Laurel Munson, as fucking, I don't remember the character's name. Laurel Munson. This has got to be one of the worst final girls I have ever fucking seen in my life. This blank, pale, emotionless, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. No, I'm just kidding. But this lady had the personality of a fucking whole wheat piece of bread. There was nothing. She has the same fucking bitch face from the fucking first reel to the fucking end. Only on this motherfucking movie. Oh, I think we should go over here. Like, what the fuck, bitch? Go get a fucking acting coach, retire. Like, pretty lady, both of them very pretty women. But man, they cannot act. And they do show their fucking yits. So, I mean, there is that bit of enjoyment where they're in the shower. You do get some fucking sleaze in there. So, I mean, that aspect of it is, I guess, interesting. I mean, it's nice to see a little bit of yits, especially in a movie as dull and boring, dare I say, as this movie is at times. But again, like I was saying, while does those two biggies wrong, the acting is poor and the fucking, of course, budget is very low budget. It does some of the biggies wrong. The little things it does right does kind of make it stand out. And there is this very small cult following for this movie that I thought was very interesting to hear about. Like I said, it follows three friends. They're driving, they're going to a rock concert, similar setup to The Last House on the Left, except this time they are in this rainstorm. They go crashing off the road. They get fucking taken to this, of course, rural mansion where they all wake up and they have dinner with this kind of kooky mother and her daughter. And the mother is saying all these horrible things about the daughter. Oh, you're a fucking slut. You sneak men into my mansion and fuck their brains out. You're a fucking slut. I hate men because my husband ran out on me years and years ago, and I fucking hate all men. All men should die and they should all be fucking castrated, and I'm a crazy fucking bitch in a wheelchair. That's basically her fucking role in this. It's just, I hate men. My daughter's a hoe. That's my performance. And like, I guess compared to fucking Brick 1 and Brick 2, or I guess we could say Yit 1 and Yit 2, fucking the Yit sisters here. They're not sisters, but they might as well have been. They had the fucking chemistry of a fucking, oh my God, they have chemistry of a fucking peanut butter and toothpaste sandwich in this motherfucker. She's better than they are. And the daughter is probably the best actress in this entire movie. I think the daughter does a good enough job. I want to get her name here. Actually, does it give her fucking name? What the fuck was her name? I think it is Janet Penner as Marion. And she went in this movie as J.E. Penner. I guess she wasn't too proud of it. Abbreviate my fucking name. I didn't know nobody needs to know I was in this. She's probably the best actress in the movie, but again, this is not a movie to go home and run about, acting. Again, atmosphere does right, because there's scenes where the girls are all sitting behind the piano and they're kind of making small talk and playing the piano and talking to each other, just like, any other slasher movie. And then you get some interesting shots of the killer outside of the house and it's pouring rain, trying to create that Halloween-esque atmosphere of Michael Myers. They even do the breathing, although to me it sounded like he was fucking cranking one out. He's breathing so I'm like, my guy, you about to fucking ejaculate on the fucking window? Like, keep that motherfucker in your pants, my guy. Like, what the fuck? Like, and if you're so fucking wet, get the fuck in there. Get in there. There's three bitches. What the fuck? There is some funny shit where the one Gloria, she gets injured. I thought for the whole movie that she was dead, because they're like, oh, she's upstairs resting. You don't have to see her right now. I was like, oh, she's already dead. I was like, I've seen a million slasher movies. She's still, no, they just fucking abandoned that bitch for an hour. In a 78-minute movie, she's not in it for an hour. I'm like, where is this fucking bitch? Oh, there she is. Oh, I'm feeling better. I'm like, where the fuck did you go? Did you have to go to a parade? Did you have to fucking go to your 9 to 5? Could you not make it those days? Like, it's very clear and evident that she was not on set very long, this bitch that played Gloria. You get a very interesting murder sequence where one of the girls, she goes off on her own. She's walking in the forest, and this killer with a skeleton mask, black cloak, and scythe comes and kills her. You get that, like I said, that scene I showed before of the dead woman on the cover. It's not explicit. It's not shown. The aftermath is shown. You just get this, and we cut to the dead body. So nothing nasty really to run home about there. And I'm quite concerned as to why this is a nasty. Like, why? It's really not explicit, gory film at all. But with that being said, we get her getting killed off. We have the one girl, she keeps walking around the house at night. We get some interesting scare sequences where she feels that she's being watched by this man who we do in time learn that is the brother of the family, and he's mentally disturbed, but he's apparently harmless, according to the sister. This all kind of revs up to the final act, which blew my fucking skirt up and blew my fucking mind. To the point where I was like, wow, like, holy fucking shit, I did not see this coming. So spoilers, because this is not a rotten ending. This is probably the most memorable thing about this movie, is the fucking ending here. You get this ending where there's a chase sequence. She thinks she's running away from the brother, who she thinks is the killer. She gets to the attic, shoots the fucking brother in the head dead. All right, movie over. I'm the final girl. I survived. I can't fucking act. Here's my yits. No, not the ending. The fucking sister comes up into the attic. I told you my brother, he was innocent. You get this amazing rant, which I have it here. This is amazing. Where I'll guess I'll spoil it and then I'll go into the rant because the rant is amazing. You basically get the twist that the brother was not harmful. He was not killing these girls. It was in fact the sister that was killing these girls, and she is actually a man. Sleepaway Camp, anyone? This was the year before Sleepaway Camp came out, so precursor Sleepaway Camp in that way. And wow, my jaw hit the ground. I was like, wait, what? And she's talking like a woman, then all of a sudden she starts talking like a fucking man, like the bass, and she's like, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, brother. God created the heavens, God created the earth, God created these bitches that can't act, and then God put them in Unhinged, brother, in this freaking mansion. And what you gonna do when the orange and blue run wild on you, brother? That it almost feels like a fucking Hulk Hogan promo. As the end was this lady, the bass in her fucking voice drops, and she's dropping the leg on this motherfucker. Do you think it's been easy all these years? Do you? Do you think it's been easy trying to take care of my brother, trying to keep my secret from my mother, fighting to keep my own secrets locked up inside? When I told you about Carl, I thought you'd understand. I thought you would be different from all the rest, but oh no! Oh no, you wouldn't believe me. You're just the same as all the others. All those years of trying to protect my brother, and all that was the only thing that really mattered to me. But now I am strong. You are the weak. Now I see you really where you really belong. Subservient, groveling, subhuman as I was all those years. Now we're finding out where you stand and who you are, aren't we? You are a putrid scum, fouling the air with your very presence. Now we're finding out, aren't we? Aren't we? Aren't we? Just an amazing fucking spiel in the file where she's just like, you fucking bitch. Like, I've had it. You killed my fucking innocent little brother when I'm the crazy psychopath with a fucking 10-inch dong. Wow. Like, I'm sitting here watching this fucking really boring, dull movie, and then all of a sudden it's, oh, yeah, I was the killer and I really have a dick. I was like, holy fucking shit. Like, fucking knee slapped. Like, fuck. Like, wow, did not see that coming. Like, it completely blew me away. And that's a big reason why I think it differentiates itself from a lot of the carbon copy slasher movies that were coming down the fucking roads that Halloween and Friday the 13th, respectively, Black Christmas and Texas, all these movies that you want to mention that paved the road that they could drive down in their fancy fucking cars, that they would eventually crash in torrential downpours. Wow. It just really blew me away with the ending. I was like, that is really interesting way to end this. And I definitely think if this had come out now, I think it would have been a big hit because it has a lot to say. Now, look at all the conversations at the dinner scene before. The mother saying, you're a slut, you're a whore, you're bringing men into my castle and fucking them. She wasn't. She's a man. So what the mother was hearing was, when she talked to her, the daughter. When she didn't, she was speaking like a man. So she fucking assumed in her head that she's taking all these men up there when it's really her fucking daughter. I'm like, what the hell? Like, that is a crazy, brilliant, just brilliant to go there. I was like, wow, like, what a fucking weird twist to go there, man. I thought that was really clever. But the journey to get there may just ruin it. Like, it's really still feels padded and it still feels overlong, even though this is a movie where there's really, no real long running time. This is a fucking 78-minute movie before the credits. It feels like it still needs to be trimmed, but there's no fat to trim. So what you're left with is almost like fucking a really good tender fucking rib with no fucking meat on it though. Like, it's just all right, suck the fucking ball, suck the the dong. This he got a fucking dong rib or something. I don't know. I mean, it's just fucking batshit to the point where I was like, wow, like I never saw that coming. It had good atmosphere. Acting was bad though. The fucking like the rest of the movie just taking like forever to fucking get going. I mean, it's just such a mixed bag. Like, what it does right, it does really right. What it does wrong, it does oh so wrong. So it's a really interesting video nasty in that respect. But I want to go back to the comments. Let's see if any of you guys have seen this movie because it is fucking wild. I believe we were here. Anyone know if there's going to be a volume 3 video nasties doc, or maybe there's a volume 2, which is all the Section 3 video nasties, which, you have Dawn of the Dead, Friday the 13th. You have some bigger titles on the Section 3. But to me, I always said that, like, these are the Nasties. Like that volume 2, it's good. These are the fucking Nasties. I don't care about section 3. These are the Nasties. They'll forever be the Nasties. Good, bad, or ugly. The original 72 are the Nasties. I'll confess, I don't mind Unhinged, and it's very hated. And I have it on DVD, a multi-set with a bunch of other unknown movies. It's weird, man. Yeah, I mean, the movie gets a 4.9 IMDb. You would think it gets a lot of hate. I read a lot of reviews where people were saying this is one of the best Nasties, and this is one of the best slasher movies, and all of these. I'm like, I would not go that fucking far. But I can see why there'd be a cult following, because number one, if you get atmosphere right, you can get anybody. You can fucking trick a fucking person into thinking your movie's good if you have a good atmosphere. You really can. And this movie does have that. And also the ending, you could interpret it and take it in a lot of different ways. It has something to say. There's a lot of slasher movies, let's face it, that don't have shit to say. Eat Alive does not have shit to say. It's just a fucking movie, like doesn't really have any message or point. This at the end, yeah, like that whole speech is quite horrific, is quite horrifying when you fucking think about it. All of the repressed feelings that he had, pretending to be a she. Very like, wow, like holy shit. I was very fucking like, I wish that someone had filmed my reaction, because I was like, what? I was like, motherfucker, what? Like, huh? It was fucking pretty funny. I mean, I was alone watching it, so I don't know. Unhinged is nearly impossible to defend, and I pretty much agree with most of the hate, but I just enjoy the atmosphere. Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing, man. A lot of fucking people will say enjoy for the atmosphere. It has a cult following. I'm telling you, this will definitely, unless there's rights issues, which is my guess, because there's never even been, other than that one DVD from 2004 with the solo edition and the pack, the bunch of DVD titles of unknown titles that you mentioned, there's never been another release of it. So that's since like 2004, 2005. We're looking 18 years ago. That's wild to me. I definitely think this will get a release eventually. Unless, like I said, there are the fucking... Dude, the acting in Troll 2 is better than the acting in this movie. I'm not even fucking kidding you. Oh my God! It's fucking better than this movie. This doesn't sound like something I would want to watch. Well, I mean, you're a slasher fan. You're a slasher fan, right? I mean, you are. I mean, maybe it's worth a shot. This chick wish she had half the charisma and talent of Bruce. Yeah, that's true. Brown Bumper Horse here. Holy shit. He had the DVD, and I had to ask him. I was like, what the fuck company released this? Because I never fucking saw that DVD anywhere. But Brandon, welcome, my friend. Best acting ever. All these R's. Uh-oh. And I absolutely love that one girl is just out of the movie. Dude, yeah, she's just in the fuck. Like, to the point where they're like, oh, your friend is hurt. Well, I was thinking, I'm like, okay, they're totally going to fucking go back to her. Like, they'll be like, they'll find the body. And no, like, she's just fucking sitting in the bed. Like, she's like, oh, is it time to go? And then she gets fucking killed. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, did that bitch just not have a lot of screen time? Most Nasties weren't even checked. Most of the times they just looked like the artwork. Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe they saw that image of the girl, like, the scythe, the great, I think it's great cover art on the DVD. Maybe they saw that and just went nasty. I don't know, because there's really no explicit gore or violence here. It's really, really tame in comparison to the other movies in the Nasties. Like Cannibal Holocaust, I get why you prosecuted that movie. I fucking understand it. Cannibal Ferox, Make Them Die Slowly, I get it. This movie, I don't fucking understand. And same with this. I don't really to the point where, oh, it's so nasty. I think this movie is more horrifying characters and schizophrenia than it does like actual disturbing sequences of gratuity. Most Nasties have kills with household tools or items, and the titles as well as an axe. I mean, come on, axe. Yeah, that's right. Axe with the like the four robbers, and the blood is literally the Crayola red of Dawn of the Dead. That's a movie it's not the greatest. I think it's like an hour long. I think it's 65 minutes. It's not even feature length, really. I like the movie because of the general atmosphere and the paranoia that it creates, but very dry at times. Certainly does not have the best acting. I agree. That's exactly, like, I don't fail the movie. I kind of like it, but yeah, there's no denying the acting in this movie is like fucking some of the worst you'll see. Like, oh my God. Agreed. Labyrinth. I agree too. Censorship is just control at the end of the day. Fuck them and their rules. Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's like that's like the whole fun of the Nasties. Like, I love that somebody fuck these movies are, they're the worst. You ban them forever. It adds the forbidden factor. Like, oh, I'm watching a Nasty. I don't know. I think inadvertently they created the best list ever for horror fans, even though, like, I would say 75 to 80% of the titles are really bad movies. Like, if not more, there's a lot of bad nasties. Like, okay, let's have nasties that are actually good. You could probably count them on, like, you have Evil Dead, Possession, Tenebrae. I really like The Burning. The Burning would be up there for me. That would definitely be one of the better video nasties. Cannibal Holocaust is a great fucking movie. I don't care what anybody says. I know a lot of people get offended. It's a great fucking movie. It really is, from top to bottom, a great film. Those five, okay. I'm trying to think. I could bring up the whole fucking nasties list and tell you, like, the ones that I love. Evil Speak. There's a lot of nasties I love, but I don't know, are they necessarily great movies? Like, is Don't Go in the Woods Alone a great movie? No, it's a horrible fucking movie, but it's so entertainingly horrible that it endears you to it. Like, it's one of those. It's so bad that you're endeared to it. Damn, Grande really knows dialogue from Unhinged. LOL, funny to hear. Dude, yeah, no, that fucking scene blew me away. Listening but not looking at the screen. Grande hasn't blown a fuse or exploded yet. Never. Only briefly. Yeah. So does the ending save it? The ending sets it apart. I don't know if the ending saves it. Like for some people, yeah, I think there's probably somebody who watched this and went, I was bored up until the end. Like, I can see somebody saying that, which, yeah, for sure. But I don't know. Like, I don't think it's a classic. I don't think it's a great hidden gem. I don't think it's any of those. I think it's watchable. It's a little bit dull, but it's watchable. It's something that every slasher fan should see at some point, I think. But would it be in my top slasher movies? No, it definitely would not be in my fucking top slasher movies. So many films are based around one good idea and they throw filler shit. Yeah, but the thing is, this movie's filler shit, it's basically the filler shit the rest of the movie. Because it's only 78 minutes. It's like, it still feels filler, even though there's no fat on the bone. Only briefly, that's tame for Grande. Well, Eaten Alive is something to say. People be crazy. I mean, there's no point. There's no, like I said, that scene that I really wished I would have thrown in there would just have him, fuck, my life was hard. Like something like that, where he just fucking goes off and gets sad and then goes nuts. I would have enjoyed a scene like that to say, okay, there's a method to the madness. No, there's just madness. There's no explanation for it. Like, why does Marilyn Burns' character fucking wearing a wig and pop it? They might have brief dialogue in insinuating stuff, but it's never really said outwardly. It's never really like, and why is this fucking husband, William Finley, fucking crazy? I don't know. He's just fucking nuts. Looks like he has to take a shit. I have no idea. Sean, LO, got to be honest here. It's hard to recommend movies like Unhinged. Well, yeah, definitely. I would lightly recommend it. Yeah, but slashers I watch usually have action. If you want action, yeah, no, you're going to be sorely disappointed. But it has atmosphere. So there's probably, for every person that wants the gory, violent, action-packed slashers, there are also people that want that, old school atmospheric horror movie. It does have that old school kind of mansion horror, haunted house horror feel to it. I think that's a different element that it brings. Yes, Aiden. And also, if you're having second thoughts of being a whore, don't go to the sketchy motel run by a guy named Judge. Okay, so apparently people think that these movies are very fucking deep. I mean, is what it is. Yeah, now that I think about it, it's pretty ridiculous that Unhinged made the Nasties list, and there's quite a few on the list that will make you scratch your head. Definitely. The Beyond, of course, City of Living is not a nasty. House by the Cemetery, Zombie. I'll pull up the list. We'll pull up the list because we're about to end the show anyway. I was just going to say that, Mernsey. Only on the Graveyard. Yeah, we're wrapping up here, but I will bring up the list. When I think of video nasties, I usually think of the Beyond first. I think nasties. I think Last House on the Left. That's the first movie that comes to me. I mean, that's why I wore the shirt. I mean, it rests on 13 acres of earth over the very center of hell. I mean, there's few movies I love as much as The Last House on the Left. One of my faves. Unhinged, if I had to rank it, it would probably come in at like a 5.5 maybe. I don't know. It's definitely one that I'm like iffy on. But let me bring up the list. I'll bring up the list before we end the show here. So let's see. Video Nasties list. I'll give you the movies that I genuinely think are good. Like, no exception here. Let me bring up the whole fucking list just so I don't because I don't, off the top of my head, 72 movies. I could forget some. So let's go here. I'll pull it up and I will fucking share the screen with y'all so you can look along with me here. We'll bring up the Nasties list and we'll really see which movies are fucking great here. So I'll minimize myself. My computer is having a brain fart right now. Okay. So let's look at this fucking list here. Absurd. I like the movie. I like Joe D'Amato joint. It's not a great movie. Flesh for Frankenstein, I love. Flesh for Frankenstein is a great movie. Anthropophagus, the Grim Reaper, Essential Video Nasty, another Joe D'Amato joint. Again, not a great movie, but it's a Joe D'Amato movie. I like it as just as much, or if not more than absurd. Blood Feast, awful movie technically, but it was the first gore splatter film, so it really fucking, is a big reason as to why the list even exists. I believe it's the oldest of the Video Nasties, celebrating its 60th anniversary this year. The Ghastly Ones, bad Andy Milligan movie. I watched it once and I fucking want to forget it. Bloody Moon, not a great movie by any means. So I covered it on a past Nasty special. The Burning, awesome slasher movie, one of the best slasher movies out there. Cannibals in the Streets, aka Cannibal Apocalypse. I like the movie, not a great movie. Cannibal Ferox, same thing. I like the movie, not a great movie. Cannibal Holocaust, absolutely, in my opinion, probably up there with fucking Last House on the Left for me. For the best Video Nasties, either Evil Dead, Last House on the Left, or Cannibal Holocaust. Pick one of those three, and to me, have the best Video Nasty. Cannibal Man, the most underrated nasty. Always felt that way. I covered it on Video Nasty special number 2, I believe, where I covered it, Bloody Moon, and fucking what was the other one I covered? I forget. But I covered 3 on that one. Love the Cannibal Man. I think it is the most underrated nasty. I don't understand the hate for it. I think they gave it a poor title, and people hate it because of the title, because it's not a cannibal film. It is a serial killer movie, and people fucking hate it because it's not a cannibal movie. I don't think it's a valid reason to hate a movie. I don't. Cannibal Man's awesome. In my top 10 nasties. Devil Hunter is fucking horrible. It's fucking horrible. Like, it might be in the bottom 10 movies I've ever seen. It is the worst Jess Franco movie I've ever seen. I love Jess Franco. I love Jess Franco, aka Yoda, which I don't know if people know that. Did people know that? Jess Franco was the inspiration of Yoda. There's the reason Yoda looks the way Yoda looks. It was modeled after Jess Franco. So Jess Franco is the reason Yoda looks like Yoda. Yoda, Jess Franco, the master. I love Jess Franco, but The Devil Hunter is the worst fucking movie he ever made, and it's not even close. It's so bad. Don't Go in the Woods, so bad it's great. Driller Killer, early Abel Ferrara joint. I love Abel Ferrara. It has that grimy New York City feel to it. And it really is it's distinctly Abel Ferrara. It's very unsettling. More of a drama movie than it is a slasher movie, but it's infamous. It's an infamous nasty. Not a great movie though. I wouldn't put it in my top 10. Evil Speak, I love. Evil Speak's great. Trauma, aka The House on Straw Hill, I believe. This is with Udo Kier. Fucking I never could get into it. Just fucking bland. And it's funny enough, the only British movie on a fucking Video Nasties list. It's the only British movie on a British list, which is fucking weird. But yeah, dull, just forgettable. Faces of Death, quintessential nasty. Not a great movie. Kind of aged poorly, but quintessential. Fight for Your Life, I enjoy. It's very, very politically incorrect, especially compared to nowadays. Fuck, if you like nowadays, oh my god, they would never come out with this movie. You would be probably arrested or canceled if you try to make a movie like this today. It is so like whatever the fuck what was the new fucking horror movie? Oh my god, what the fuck was the new? It was like all black cast. I can't think of the fucking name of it. That's like the opposite of this movie. Like that movie's like very pro. This is like very like holy shit, mean spirited. But again, a very good exploitation movie in my opinion. Damn good. House by the Cemetery, top 10 nasty. Love it. Lucio Fulci, one of his best movies. Love the soundtrack. Love the fucking feel. Everybody talks about Bob. What about Bob? Love the House by the Cemetery. Such a good one, man. Love, love, love House by the Cemetery. One of my favorite Fulcis. Probably in my top 3 Fulcis. Even though a lot of people hate that one. House on Edge of the Park, David Hess had arguably his best. Diodato joint the same year he made Cannibal Holocaust. I absolutely adore House on the Edge of the Park. David Hess's performance in it is great. You can't forget about Giovanni Lombardo Radici. I got to say that. You got to say that fast. That's one of the most fun names of all time. Say Giovanni Lombardo Radici. You got to love saying that name. May he rest in peace. He just passed away a couple months ago. Rest in peace, you tough bastard. I love Giovanni. He does a great interview on the Blu-ray as well if you don't have it. I Spit on Your Grave, quintessential nasty. It's not a great movie, but it is in terms of the nasties. Like, it's one of the movies that defines the list. Island of Death, one of the poorest excuses, sorry ass excuses of a fucking exploitation movie you will ever fucking see. It's one of those movies that tries everything. We have necrophilia, we have fucking bestiality, we have all the like. It's throw every fucking exploitative element in one movie, and you get Island of Death, and it's so fucking poor. Like it's exploitation for all the wrong reasons. If I ever met the fucking person that directed it, I'd smack him in the fucking head because you obviously didn't get it. Nico Mastorakis, that sounds like a Greek name. Well, you've done Greek people wrong. God damn it. You should not make movies because the movie fucking sucked. Beast and Heat, again, not a great movie. Very offensive movie, too, if you're talking Nazisploitation. Night of the Howling Beast, a.k.a. This one doesn't ring a bell. Oh, this is The Werewolf and the Yeti. This is a fucking the Paul Naschy joint. This is one of your classic movies, The Werewolf and the Yeti, where we see the Yeti for a whole 30 seconds in this fucking movie. So classic. This is, a lot of Paul Naschy films where there'd be the vampire versus the werewolf woman, the werewolf versus the vampire woman. I'll get it right here. It's fights in with all those. Last House on the Left, arguably the best. I mean, to me, there are a few movies I love more than Last House on the Left. I think it's the fucking like gold standard exploitation movie. It's just so fucking good. As Krug, it piss your pants, and the road leads to nowhere, and the fucking now you're all alone. Masterpiece. In my opinion, a masterpiece, and definitely in the top 3 Nasties they ever made. Let's see. Gestapo's Last Orgy, again, not the greatest movie in the world, but offensive. Axe, very short, very forgettable. Love Camp 7, just reviewed it. Mardi Gras Massacre, fun, but not a great movie. Night of the Bloody Apes, where this doctor's son dies and they replace his heart with a fucking ape heart, and he goes ape shit. Not as fun as it sounds. Not as fun as it sounds. A lot of these not as fun as they sound. Night of the Demon, you're getting your dick ripped off, motherfucker. Nightmares in a Damaged Brain, I believe this is. A lot of people, big cult following for it. I think it's okay. It's nothing great. Snuff, horrible, fucking horrible, boring fucking movie. As is Experiment Camp, definitely offensive, definitely worth watching. Tenebrae, a top 5 nasty for me. Fucking awesome fucking movie. One of Argento's best in the prime of his career. The movie that he made and all the criticism that Inferno and Suspiria got and all the hate that those 2 movies got because he went away from making Jolly and he made Suspiria and Inferno, which were great fucking, well, Inferno not so much as Suspiria, but of course Tenebrae was his answer to all the critics that said, you fucking got away from what you do best. He fucking throws the middle finger up, and Tenebrae is one of the best. To me, a top 5 nasty. Madhouse, forgettable. Toxic Zombies, forgettable. Bay of Blood, masterpiece. Mario Bava joint, great movie. Arguably responsible for the slasher genre that we go and get. Fulci Zombie, the quintessential Italian zombie movie, the movie that is probably the bastard cousin between Dawn and Day of the Dead. I love Fulci Zombie. I love the score. And the fucking, they're coming. Oh my God. Just the zombie and the shark. Fulci at his prime. The Beyond, another great Fulci movie. Although of the trilogy, I always like City of the Living Dead and House by the Cemetery slightly more. It seems like The Beyond is the most beloved of those 3. So, I mean, go figure. But I definitely love The Beyond too. That trilogy, the Gates of Hell trilogy, is great. The Boogeyman from Uli Lamel. I recommend you fucking glue your fucking balls to a fucking chair and get up quickly after, instead of watching the movie. I don't fucking like you, Uli Lamel. You fucking suck. This is probably Uli Lamel's best movie. It has colors. It just got a $50 4K from Vincent. If you fucking decided to throw the money at that, don't fucking save your money. And it's a masterpiece compared to The Boogeyman 2, which is the worst nasty. Cannibal Terror, the second worst nasty. Horrible. The worst cannibal movie I've ever seen. Makes The Green Inferno from Eli Roth look watchable. Contamination, the only sci-fi horror movie on this list. Bland. I didn't realize it was directed by Luigi Cozzi. I did never fucking realize that. Bland movie, though. Nothing to run home about. Dead and Buried, very, very good, underrated. That might have been the other movie I reviewed on there. I definitely did an episode on Dead and Buried. Love that movie. Delirium, horrible piece of shit. Don't Go in the House, great movie, scared the fucking shit out of me. Dan Grimaldi from The Sopranos, he's Potsy on The Sopranos, he's in it, does a fucking weird job in it. Like his acting is weird. It is one of the more uncomfortable movies on this list. To me, absolutely um fucking worthy of being a nasty. Like scared the fucking shit out of me. One of the last movie I watched that scared the piss out of me is Don't Go in the House. Great movie. Another one I covered on the show. Don't Go Near the Park. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. Don't go near the park. I can't just review it in a sentence. It needs its own show. Maybe the next Nasty special, Video Nasties #6, Jason Lives, will cover the don't movies. Like Don't Go in the House, don't look in the basement, Don't Go near the park, Don't Go in the woods alone. That'd be a fun episode if I did all the movies that tell you don't, but there's none of them more batshit than this. The most batshit nasty out there. Linnea Quigley's in there. You have the most weird plot in the history of cinema in fucking Don't Go. Wow. I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you. One of these days I'll review it. Pranks, aka The Dormant Blood, under average slasher movie. I'd never understood the love for it. Eaten Alive, we just reviewed it. Evil Dead, the gold standard of independent horror movies, a top 3 nasty, if not number 1. Don't Look in the Basement, average. Always felt it was average. The aesthetic of it's good. The rest of it, for the birds. Frozen Scream, horrible, horrible fucking movie. Some of the worst technical aspects. It's one of the worst made nasties. Like they'll have scenes where there's people talking and it's like the worst ADR you've ever heard. It's fucking bad, man. I don't know. The Funhouse, I quite like. That's a good slasher movie. Hell of the Living Dead from Bruno Mattei. Oh, Bruno Mattei and Claudio Fragasso. Iffy movie. Human Experiments, fucking forgettable, irritating, and wasted my time. 82 minutes of wasting your fucking time. Horrible. I Miss You, Hugs and Kisses, the oddball on the list. I've never seen it. Wow, we're fucking 56 movies in. That's the first one I have not seen. Sacrifice, aka The Man from Deep River, the movie that made the cannibal genre so popular. Of course, Umberto Lenzi's film. I quite find it tame in comparison and standards to, of course, Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Ferox, and Cannibal Apocalypse. All these really good cannibal movies. It's very bland. Mountain of the Cannibal God, very bland in comparison to that. But I think important. Again, sort of like Love Camp 7, where you can't, talk about cannibal movies without talking about The Man from Deep River. Inferno, in my opinion, the weakest of Argento's prime. Like from 75 to 1987, I would consider his prime. And that is, to me, the weakest Argento movie in that bunch. But it's so fucking well made and it's so beautiful and colorful and all that. Like it's definitely, just based on how well it's made, it's better than almost half these movies. Killer Nun, actually have it in my collection. Never watched it, though. So I'll have to get the Killer Nun. Late Night, Last Stop on the Train, or aka Late Night Trains, Night Train Murders. Always fucking felt it was a bad version of Last House on the Left. Like let's make Last House on the Left, but if we had a style. Like, is it Italian? Last House on the Left on the train with style. And I thought that would all work, and it didn't work for me. It never, ever worked for me. I don't understand the hype there. Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, aka Make Them Die Slowly. Oh, no. Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, aka The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue from Jorge Grau. The best zombie movie on this list. And yes, that includes Fulci Zombie. I love this movie. To me, the greatest non-Romero zombie movie that there ever was. I love Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. A 10 out of 10. Love it. Slave of the Cannibal God with Ursula Andrews, Stacy Keach. I just recently reviewed this on something. Love the movie. Have a lot of fun with it. Night School. I don't remember. Butcher Baker Nightmare Makers, above average nasty. Good movie. Has some incest in there. It's definitely above average nasty. I'd recommend it. It has some ahead of its time shit in there. Possession, top 5 nasty. Probably overall might be the best movie on the entire nasties list. I mean, it's such a fucking good movie. I don't know. I believe it was the shortest lived of all the nasties too. I think it was only on the DPP list for like a month. So, but again, that's the reason I found it. And I mean, I love the movie. I mean, the Possession is arguably the best nasty out there. I love the movie. It's probably technically the best nasty. Boogeyman 2, the worst nasty. It is literally stock footage of the first piece of shit Boogeyman. And then it's a Hollywood party with all these dumb fucks sitting around a pool. That's the whole movie. It is horrible. Horrible movie. The Slayer, I've never seen. Toolbox Murders, I covered that on an episode of the Nasties. Average. Unhinged, just talked about it. 5.5 out of 10. Visiting Hours, Overlong, pathetic. Never liked Visiting Hours. Which Came from the Sea, never seen it. Women Behind Bars, Jess Franco joint. Fucking one that I fucking don't really remember, to be honest. It's one of those Jess Franco movies that kind of runs together with the rest. So yeah, that's all 72 Nasties. So yeah, like we'll scroll up here really quick. Possession would be in the top 10. So I'll give you a top 10 out of order. Possession, Let's Eat Corpses Lie, fucking Inferno probably make the top, just fucking based on how well it's made. Let's see. Evil Dead would make it. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll up here. Don't Go in the House would be in my top 10 probably. It scared the fuck out of me. Dead and Buried would be in my top 10. The Beyond would be close. Zombie would be close. Bay of Blood would be close. Tenebrae would be in the top 10 for sure. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss any here because I just went through the whole thing, gave mini reviews, and I want to make sure I have my top 10 here. Unofficial top 10. Last House on the Left would be probably my number one. Oops, I just skipped everything. Oh, shit. Well, you get the fucking picture. I don't know. But most of the fucking things I gave mini reviews. So, I mean, it is what it is. But let me get back to comments, and then we'll wrap this show up. I apologize. I didn't mean to go down that long tangent, but I figured it was fun. Wow, we have a lot of comments. Holy fucking balls. Holy shit. There is probably no fucking way I'm going to be able to. Let me go back. Sweet Shirt. I think we were here. Sweet Shirt. I'm going to go as quickly as I can. I'm not going to comment as much. Absurd, Anthropophagus. You were definitely talking about some deep films with this video. Well, we're getting nasty, Aiden. Last House on the Left, the remake of the Ingmar Bergman Swedish film Virgin Spring. Anthropophagus, meh, kind of bad taste. Ghastly Ones is rough. Yeah, Annie Milligan fucking sucks. They did like a $200 Annie Milligan set that nobody bought. Like, what the fuck? I can't remember Beyond the Darkness. I don't believe so. Not the greatest nasty, but I'm such a huge fan of it. Mardi Gras Massacre, fun flick. Okay, they just Sever did the Blu-ray of that, and it got recalled weirdly. I don't know what the whole controversy was. Maybe somebody can enlighten me. Zombies, all-time favorite, great movie. D'Amato's great. I love D'Amato movie. Absurd is a lot of fun. Devil Hunter's a bottom 5 nasty. The worst Jess Franco movie ever. Driller, I like the New York aspect of it. I like the grit of it. Only seen the trailer for Devil Hunter, and it looks god-awful. Oh, it's horrible. Is it expensive? Really? I didn't know that. I did not know it was expensive to buy. Surely you say the truth, Grande, about Jess Franco, this Yoda fellow you talk of. Do or do not. There is no try. House on Straw, I really dig. I did not get into that one, man. I couldn't stand it, actually. And I love Udo Kier. Love him in Flesh for Frankenstein. Don't Go in the Woods gives me a headache. Horrible Texas Chainsaw Massacre rip that they play 500 times. Yes, the fucking, oh my God. Yes, that's right. House on the Edge of the Park, definitely top 5. Love it. Love House on the Edge of House by the Cemetery. Mad. A lot of people don't like House by the Cemetery. Wearing my House by the Cemetery t-shirt right now. Wicked movie. I love it too. I have one from, I believe, Paul Bearer Press did a shirt, and it's amazing. I love that movie. Of the Gates of Hell trilogy, that's my favorite. It's that, City of Living Dead, then The Beyond. I love all three. I think all three are like 8.5 or better out of 10. But I love House by the Cemetery. It was his response to The Shining. He felt The Shining was overrated, and that was his attempt to make an atmospheric horror movie, which I know a lot of people, it's not The Shining. It's not. It's the furthest thing from the fucking Shining, but I think it's a fucking really good movie. I don't know, just me. Pieces not a nasty. Somehow, some way, Pieces is not a fucking nasty. I don't know how, because that should have been on there. It might be a section 3. It definitely might be a section 3. Island of Death director says he was crossing all lines. Yeah, let's have animals getting fucked. Let's have a goat get fucked. That guy's a fucking idiot. That's to me, like, that's what the issue is. There's some exploitation filmmakers that fucking just think, oh, we're gonna make it as offensive as we fucking can. You gotta entertain me, you stupid bastard. That's the fucking point. Oh, God, I could shake these motherfuckers. If I was in the position to make a fucking movie, I had the money that some of these motherfuckers had, I would not make a movie like Island of Death. What a piece of garbage. I Spit in Your Grave with commentary. That's my favorite, arguably my favorite commentary ever is the Joe Bob Briggs on the Blu-ray. I have that. I love that fucking commentary. I believe I reviewed I Spit in Your Grave on the very first Video Nasty special, which has like almost 4,000 views. That video, that's one of my most watched things I ever did. That Nasty is hard to find. It's actually not. It's in the Scream Factory collection. They did like the Paul Nasty collection, which was very weird for them to do when I think about it. It's in the second part of it that you could watch that movie there. But yeah, solo edition, I would agree. Don't Go in the House. Yes. That movie scared the balls off of me. To this day, I'm scared by that movie. I just don't like House by the Cemetery. There's a lot of people that don't. Night of the Bloody Apes. Yeah, Night of the Bloody Apes. Fucking crazy. Oh my God, Dirk. Oh my God. How could you fucking say that? How could you say that? Dawn of the Dead's my favorite movie ever. But I understand. We all have different tastes, my friend. I do love both of those movies, but it is not Yawn of the Dead, my guy. It is just not Yawn of the Dead. You got to put the D in front. France's Descriptions. France's Descriptions. I love Don't Look in the Basement. It's a lot of fun for me personally. It definitely has that 70s feel. Like it feels like a good movie, but I don't know if it is. It's such a weird. I reviewed it. I did a review of it on some show. I reviewed it with House and Age of the Park, but it wasn't a nasty special. I think I did like a special where it was Grindhouse double features, and that was one. I forget the fucking video. I did review both those movies. A lot of Italian have a lot of bad ADR. No, but Frozen Scream is not Italian. That's the thing. Like it's just a bad movie. But I get your point. Man from Deep River is very solid. Ivan Razimov's best role in the first Cannibal film. Yeah, it's the pioneer. Grande's Descriptions, new tablet, haven't turned off spell corrector, so forgive my my typos. No worries. House by the Cemetery is the one with the creature in the basement. Freudstein, Dr. Freudstein. Descriptions, maybe I've seen both those films. Possession is great. Absolutely love Possession as well. I think it's a top 5. Nasty. Mikey J, that's a first time name. Welcome, Mikey J. Kubrick. Yes, great movie. Absolutely. Which movie? Whatever. The one is the monster in the basement. Monster's so cheesy. House by the Cemetery. Let me see. I'm catching up. Almost there. I look forward to your Nasties review of Don't Go in the House. Don't go. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll totally do that. I'll do a show where I review all the don'ts. That would be fun. Grande's stupid spell corrector. I don't have a stupid spell. I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, Don't Go in the House. One of my favorites. Look. Okay. Or LOL, Miss Carter. Beyond the Darkness is my favorite D'Amato film. Love fucking D'Amato. Like Beyond the Darkness might be my favorite D'Amato film too. Bye, everyone. Sorry about all the typo mistakes. Miss C's just like, fuck this shit. Since you like House by the Cemetery, Grande, stand in the corner of the classroom. Hell yeah, Sean. Dude, stuffs his girlfriend well. He's a taxidermist. That's right. Oh, yeah, the incest in the movie makes it more messed up. And finally, Italians like to write about incest. Well, if there's not a fucking line better to end a show on, I mean, I don't know. But yes, ladies and gents, that has been the Video Nasty Special number 5. I enjoy doing these shows as always. Of course, the main reviews being Eaten Alive, Love Can't 7, and Unhinged, respectively. If you guys are catching the replay of this and want to let me know down below in the comments which one of the 3 you like the best, which one of the 3 you like the worst, give me mini reviews, or even, as the Nasties as an entire whole, always down to hear your guys' thoughts. It's very fun in the chat as always. This was a lively bumping ass chat, man. You bring up the Nasties, people come a running. So, I mean, it is what it is. But everybody, next week, we take a departure from the horror. We go into the top 10 baseball movies of all time. So it should be a lot of fun. I have my list created. I hope we had a bunch of people come. Arrivederci, grande. Ciao. Let's see. Dirk says, great stream. Kubrick only on the Graveyard. Great show, man. Stay frosty. Thank you. No, always, you guys, the support is great. Great live, Grande. Thank you so much. Another solid show. Thank you. Guys, the support is humbling. It really is. Never mind. I meant the stupid corrector. It thinks your name is Nasty, I guess. You think my name is Nasty? We'll talk about Video Nasties. Nasty show, Grande. Cheers, everybody. Thank you, Mernsey. Throwing these up. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Cheers to a safe, happy, healthy weekend, and we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. Too sweet, peace, and we'll catch you next time. Good night, everybody.